Hi writers, this video is part 1 of 2, and in this video we're focusing on part 1 of your WPA number 4 or 5, depending on how it's labeled in your class, the paper number 2, Ad Analysis Process Doc. So before we begin, please make sure you can answer these questions about your ad. Number 1, you should have a sense of who the target audience is, and you do want to get as specific as possible. Now keep in mind here, we're not saying these are the only people who can use this product, but who does the ad seem to suggest they are marketing the product towards with this particular advertisement? For example, Windex can be used by anyone, of course, but often Windex advertisement seems to target mothers or women, depending on the ad itself and where that ad is played or shown. So you do want to have a more specific sense of the target audience if possible. Number 2, you should have an idea of what the ad suggests that particular audience desires or fears, and the social reward or ideal lifestyle the ad implies the product will provide to us. So for example, that Windex may of course suggest that your windows will be cleaner, but it may also say you'll have this calm, peaceful lifestyle if you use Windex, or your family will think you're a wonderful parent if you use Windex. That's a social reward or an ideal lifestyle, suggested or implied by the ad, although not explicitly stated. Number 3, you should have a sense of the types of strategies the ad uses to associate the ad with the attainment of those desires. Your ad analysis assignment that we did previous to this walked you through some of those things: the color, the content, the copy, and the composition, the use of ethos, pathos, and logos, and how all of the details of the ad work to achieve these associations. So just a little reminder, we are trying to get to the subtext or the implicit messages of the ad. Here are some examples. On the left, the literal or explicit message of, a Chevy truck commercial might be, this truck will help me tow heavy things and it can help me drive off-road. The subtext of the ad, depending on how it's presented and the details in the ad, might be something like, real men drive trucks and real men work hard outdoors. This truck will reinforce my desired lifestyle by making me feel masculine, dependable, and hardworking. Or this truck is for people with real American values. Or if it's an ad for Nike shoes, for example, the ad might explicitly say, these shoes will help me be a good athlete. But even deeper than that, the implied message or subtext of that might be, I'm not good enough without Nike shoes, or I need Nike shoes to be good enough. Real athletes wear Nikes. These shoes will help me achieve respect. They might help me achieve a rise in social status because of that sense of having made it in the world through my athletic achievements. I do think a lot of young athletes are sort of promised, and ads play into this, that if they work hard enough in their sport, they can make it. So we'll use this ad as an example. This is a Johnnie Walker ad called Where Flavor is King. The first thing you want to do is begin to notice all the details of the ad. So here you can see there's definitely a man in the middle. He's looking very mysterious and aristocratic. You can notice the background. We have, it looks like a manor, an aristocratic manor with the huge paintings, the detail on the wall, the dark color of the wall, the chandelier. You can also notice there's a little bit of fantasy element here, right? We have these gigantic fruits and nuts and foods, and most of the characters surrounding it are women in sort of cocktail dresses, many of them in very sexualized poses. There are a few men as well over to the right, one of them breathing fire in the back. So we have this overall sort of like abundance, excess, even sort of a hedonistic, pleasure-driven life, but definitely the aristocratic, the old school class thing, like old England, vibes are what we're getting here with sort of the manor full of just all this sort of hedonistic enjoyment lifestyle. And you also want to notice the color scheme, which we have deep, dark, saturated colors, very aristocratic, very traditionally associated with masculinity. You also want to notice the words. So here, the copy, we call it in advertising, where flavor is king. So again, the king word choice here gives us that aristocracy vibe of the ad. So remember our 4 C's: composition, color, content, and copy. Then we need a topic. So I want you to sort of try to express the overall vibe or the overall promise of the ad. So here, I definitely think the ad is suggesting that along with this whiskey will come superiority or the feeling of classiness, even maybe like aristocracy. So the ad is attempting to make you feel like if you choose Johnnie Walker Black Label, you feel a little fancy and maybe even a little bit superior and probably a little bit masculine, although of course not only men drink whiskey. But the ad here, I think, definitely is meant to appeal to men. The next thing you want to start to do is brainstorm different elements of the ad that you could connect to what you've just said. So what elements of the ad can we connect to class and superiority? We want to think, again, the 4 C's: contents of the ad, what the ad actually includes in visual imagery, the colors of the ad, the composition of the ad, or how everything's arranged. So here we definitely have some composition choices with the man in the middle and everything crowded around it. And then copy or the words the ad is using. So on your assignment so far, we've got the topic over here, class and superiority in Johnnie Walker ad, where flavor is king. So here we'll just have a phrase. Now, over here is the working thesis. We're going to skip that. Notice that's C. So instead, we're going to go down to B and start to brainstorm elements of the ad. So for one, I definitely want to talk about the color scheme. Don't just say color scheme. Make sure to provide, like, what do you mean or what is the color scheme? So we have bold, deep, reds, greens, and dark tones. We want to think content of the ad. So I definitely want to talk about the man. He's aristocratic and mysterious in the middle, and the focus is on him. I definitely want to talk about the people surrounding the man, sexual poses, women in sexual poses, and sort of cocktail dresses. So they're all fancied up. I definitely want to talk about the big fruits and nuts crowding the scene. And let's see, the words, right? The copy is where flavor is king is sort of the slogan. Okay. And then over here on the right, we need to make sure everything we include in the paper relates back up to the keywords in our topic. So over here, we're going to explain, the color scheme is traditionally masculine and aristocratic tones like mahoganies, etc. relate to superiority and class. Over here, right, all the way down, how can I relate each of these things to the tactics of the ad or that implicit promise of the ad? List as many as you can think of. You'll have several body paragraphs in this essay, at least 4, but again, probably more because you'll have multiple paragraphs about content. You don't want to talk about every single content item in an ad like this in one paragraph. Maybe one paragraph for the women, one paragraph for the background, one paragraph for the man. So we've got A and B. Might look like this. Then for C, we're going to bounce back up and use the prompt questions that are provided on the assignment sheet and the thesis templates provided on the assignment sheet to create a working thesis. It's a draft of the thesis. It's going to change. It's going to get smoother. We're going to polish it up, but we do want a draft for now. So thesis might look like this: the Johnnie Walker advertisement where flavor is king. We're going to name the ad itself specifically. Features a scene of lush excess associating the liquor with an aristocratic, hedonistic lifestyle to exploit the consumer's desire for social superiority. So I want to remind you that on the paper number 2 assignment sheet, the second page of it will have thesis help. In general, a rhetorical analysis or any analysis thesis is going to have different components. What is the ad doing, or what is the piece doing? Who is the piece doing it to? And how is the piece doing this? So here's an example of a simple version of that thesis. The Johnnie Walker advertisement where flavor is king exploits the consumer's desire for social superiority. In blue, we have what is the ad doing? In green, we have who is the ad doing it to? we're sort of missing the how. So we can make this thesis a little more sophisticated like this. The Johnnie Walker advertisement where flavor is king. We need how is the ad exploiting the consumer's desire for social superiority? Well, by featuring a scene of lush excess and associating the liquor with an aristocratic hedonistic lifestyle. Even better would be in green to define that consumer specifically, not just who might choose this product, but who is this specific ad seeming to target the ad to. You may start with women or men. You may be able to identify a specific age group or something else. Maybe a particular class of people, maybe a particular other type of demographic of people. Again, straight from the paper number 2 assignment sheet, so you can find it there. I want to remind you that there are questions, and your thesis is always a response to one of these questions. So there's a specific question if you feel like your ad is using a populist, elitist, or social or economic class association. The second question here is if you feel like your ad is promising some sort of social reward like popularity or sex appeal or fitting in. The third one is if you feel like your ad is appealing to an emotion or a value that they're assuming the target audience holds. The fourth one is if you feel like your ad is mainly trying to associate the product with a desirable lifestyle or a particular sense of identity. And the fifth is if you feel like your ad is mainly doing some sort of gender appeal, like appealing to masculinity, the ideal man, a real man, an idealized version of womanhood or femininity. So choose the question here that you think most applies to yours, and then your thesis is your answer to that question. So you can rephrase the question as your thesis statement. Paper number 2 assignment sheet also includes some thesis statement templates. You can see these are color-coded as well. What is the ad doing? Who is it targeting? And how is the ad doing this? And you're welcome to just plug in your analysis into one of these templates. Then underneath that, some thesis statement drafts written by previous students. Keep in mind these are drafts. They may need a little polish. Some of them may be slightly redundant, but they're working. They're good for now. So you can see color-coded here too. In blue, what is the ad doing? In red, how is the ad doing this? And in green, who is the ad appearing to target? So use these tools, again, located here or on the paper number 2 assignment sheet, to go ahead and fill in your working thesis as well. And that is part 1. The next video lesson will walk you through part 2, where we put all of this into a structure and begin to consider subordinating details that will go into our paragraphs.